Another day, another insane set of trade proposals for Jonathan Huberdeau. Yes, just a mere day after I posted a video that had a Jonathan Huberdeau blockbuster to the LA Kings, a new article has come out that has even more trade proposals within it, and of course, we're going to cover those. Now, it might not be in the best interest for the Flames to trade away Jonathan Huberdeau. I know he doesn't have the best contract, but between his leadership, his silky skills, and of course his great potential that he still has within this organization, it might be better to keep him, but it is still fun to speculate on these trades, and we will get into all of that and more in this video. But first, I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I am Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe, because less than 25% of the people watching are subscribed. So if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around the Calgary Flames, then make sure you join the fastest growing community of Flames fans on the internet. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. And like I said, it's crazy that yesterday we were talking about Jonathan Huberdeau for Pierre-Luc Dubois, an LA Kings and Calgary Flames trade, and now this article literally came out today, just a day after that. 4 trades that could revive Flames forward Jonathan Huberdeau's career. Take it with a grain of salt because it is from Bleacher Report, which I know isn't the most credible source ever, but it's still fun to speculate on these kind of rumors. Now, of course, it does say 4 trades. One of those trades literally is just the Pierre-Luc Dubois one, so we won't go over that one again. If you missed that, make sure you check out yesterday's video. It's the most recent upload other than this one on Flames Digest. But let's jump into this article and these just insane blockbuster trade proposals. The first one involves the Chicago Blackhawks, and I gotta be honest, after reading this article, it's the most realistic one, and I'll give kind of my verdict as to whether the Flames should do these trades or not once we get to the end of each chapter. But this one is the most realistic and has the biggest chance of happening. So what is the trade, you ask? Well, it is trade Huberdeau to Chicago for Seth Jones. When you have a contract like Huberdeau's, there's only one way you're going to move it, and that is finding another team with a bad deal it wants to get rid of. Yes, it's always an eye for an eye. You know, it's a bad contract for a bad contract. They're not necessarily bad players. They just really don't have the greatest contracts. And I will also say, all of these trades, just like yesterday's, are 1-for-1s. It's one player for one player. I know everyone has, trade clauses, no movement clauses. There's salary retention we could get into, but just for the sake of simplicity and to keep it fun, we'll just say 1-for-1 and not look too deep into it. So for the Flames, say hello to the Chicago Blackhawks and defenseman Seth Jones. Now, Seth Jones has shown in the past that he can be really good, just like Jonathan Huberdeau has. Earned a really big contract and hasn't exactly lived up to it. Now, Seth Jones isn't necessarily disgruntled in Chicago, but there's rumors that he could go to Toronto and other teams that are looking for a defenseman, but maybe the Flames could swoop in here and try and grab him. So this could be the type of contract swap that might at least have a small chance of happening if it did get proposed. From a Chicago standpoint, it would be getting Huberdeau and putting him into a more up-tempo style of play alongside an emerging megastar in Connor Bedard. That might be enough to help get his offensive production back to at least somewhat closer to his expected level and allow him to jumpstart his career. It would be kind of nasty to watch Huberdeau and Bedard together. Imagine Hubie feeding the puck to Bedard. Bedard would finish the year with 90 goals. You can guarantee it. But from a Flames standpoint, Jones isn't a bad player. He's just a player who has a bad contract. But even in that context, it is still 1 year shorter and $1 million less per season than Huberdeau's deal. So it would kind of make sense for the Flames to go to this because it's not quite as bad of a contract, and Seth Jones still has potential. Now, one thing it doesn't really say in the article here that you could argue would be great for the Flames is if you pick up a really good defenseman who's not exactly young but isn't old either. Maybe that way they can commit to drafting a center with the 9th overall pick or whichever pick they end up having in hopefully the top 10 of the draft. But it would ensure that, the decor isn't absolutely rubbish. If you put Seth Jones maybe with Weegar, then you got at least one really strong defensive pairing. Which could be really good for the Flames. And like I said, he could help develop maybe some of the younger guys that are coming up, like Brustevich, or the younger defensemen that will be part of the organization. But my verdict is, as enticing as it is to try and get rid of the Huberdeau contract, I think he's still too valuable to do this trade. The Mark Griffith Flames Digest verdict is no to this trade. Now let's get into the next one here. I don't like it, but it's Edmonton. It's the Edmonton Oilers. And this trade is nowhere near as enticing as the last one, I gotta be honest. This is just Bleacher Report being Bleacher Report and trying to get those clicks. And of course, I'm just feeding off of that too. But the Edmonton Oilers, seriously, I know they're the team I put in the thumbnail. This trade, it might blow you away. But trade to Edmonton for Darnell Nurse. Huberdeau for Nurse, 1-for-1. Would two fierce, longtime rivals want to help each other out of their own jams and potentially help them improve? Maybe not. Probably not. What a great way to preface that bit of the article there. It would again be an awful contract for an awful contract. The arguable two worst contracts in the entire NHL. Now, Edmonton Oilers, they're a pretty good team. They could be on their way to the Western Conference Final, and it's honestly not in thanks to Darnell Nurse. He's their highest paid defenseman, of course, but in no way is he even close to their best defenseman. Why would we want that on Calgary? Well, let's see what the article has to say. Huberdeau's style of play seems like it was built for the Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl Oilers, and if Edmonton does not make the Stanley Cup Final this season, or even the Western Conference Final, depending on what happens in Game 7 against the Canucks tonight, there will almost certainly be changes made. Nurse's contract has been a problem in Edmonton from almost the minute it was signed, and he is probably not even one of their top 4 most reliable defenders at this point. Geez, a little bit harsh there on Nursey. His contract runs 1 year shorter than Huberdeau's and counts nearly $1.5 million less against the cap, so it would be a very manageable swap. I don't really see either side wanting to do this. The Oilers already have so many skilled forwards. They don't really struggle to score goals, especially on the power play. And as enticing as it would be to have Huberdeau setting up either Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, of course Connor McDavid, even Nuge, I don't know if it's in their best interest to try and get rid of. I mean, they want to get rid of Nurse and his contract, but to bring on another huge one, I don't know. It could make Huberdeau's contract look a lot better. And it's the same thing with Seth Jones for the Flames. They'd have, a good defenseman and they could make a great pairing, but I don't know. Seth Jones is a lot better than Darnell Nurse. My easy verdict on this one is a hell no. This trade would not be good for the Flames. We would much rather keep Huberdeau and even at the cost of his contract. Now let's get into the next one, which is even more insane than the last one. I really hope you've stayed to watch this one because what the heck is this one? It is Columbus Blue Jackets. What could Columbus have that the Flames would want? Well, according to this article, it is the exact opposite of what I think most Flames fans would want and what would make sense for the franchise. But, I mean, you probably guessed it. Without further ado, trade Huberdeau to Columbus for Johnny Gaudreau. I couldn't believe it when I scrolled and saw that. I am almost assuming the person who wrote this article maybe doesn't watch hockey, but it's still so fun to kind of go over these mock trades, speculate all the rumors. I know they're ridiculous. Some of them are insane. Some of them are wild, but it does make great content and it's so fun to interact as a community about these kind of trades. So let's see what the article says here. A lot of mistakes were made in the summer of 2022 across the NHL. The Flames' decision to pay Huberdeau and Johnny Gaudreau's decision to sign with Columbus were two of them. And they really both affected the Flames. A lot of Flames fans wanted Gaudreau to stay. He had just had an insane season. He'd scored the overtime winner in the playoffs in the first round. He was so loved here. And then he went for a drive and decided, I'm going to go somewhat closer to home and go to Columbus. Oh my goodness, that left a sour taste in the mouths of most Flames fans, so in no way do I think they'd want this back, but let's just see what the article has to say. Maybe Gaudreau and the Flames have already run their course, yeah, you think, but there's no question his time in Calgary was the most successful portion of his career, and his time in Columbus is not going as planned. This could give him a chance to get back into an environment where he did well, while Huberdeau goes somewhere where the expectations are not quite as great. That could open him up to be a big-time scorer again, especially on a team with a good young core of talent starting to make its presence felt. Yeah, I think Huberdeau could do well in Columbus, but we also thought Gaudreau would do really well in Columbus with some of the players they have there, and it hasn't gone to plan. There were games late in the season when Columbus was putting up lots of goals, and Gaudreau was maybe getting an assist. It's ridiculous. Do the Flames want him back? Absolutely not. I don't even see how that would help. I think Flames fans would rather go with Huberdeau and all the passion that he brings. He has made it clear he wants to be in this city, part of the organization. He wants to be here for the long run and kind of, get back to a window of contention. I mean, of course, any player wants to be on a contending team and win the Stanley Cup. He hasn't been quite as outspoken as guys like Weegar and Kadri, but we do know where his mind is at. You can see the passion that he plays with and just all the emotions he feels. Verdict for this trade, the Mark Griffith Flames Digest verdict, is a what the flip? Of course not. Hell no. Never in a million years make this trade. It's awesome to speculate on, but no, I don't like it at all. Those are some wild, wild trade proposals for blockbusters if the Flames were to get rid of Huberdeau and his contract. But after making yesterday's video, so many people made great comments and great points about why Huberdeau is so valuable. And of course, the comment of the day involved that, just that, exactly. And it really has swayed me. Now, in no way have I ever disliked Huberdeau. Actually, my most recent jersey I bought is a Huberdeau jersey. I really do like him, and obviously I wish it was turning out better than it was. But he still does have so much value, and I really like this comment here from this user. You can see how much Huberdeau cares on his face on every single shift and even between shifts on the bench. He still has skills. Let's see if he can keep getting it back next season. That is just absolute facts. I couldn't agree more. He was getting better and better as the season went on. You know, after the new year, he became way better. After the All-Star break, he was getting so much better, and hopefully he can really gel with some of these guys here. After doing this video and yesterday's video, I'm actually happy to have Huberdeau. I really hope he can improve, and I know a lot of Flames fans do feel that way. As much as his contract has sucked so far, there is potential for it to be better. There's also, of course, the chance that he could regress even more, but we will just have to wait and see. But I don't think it is in our best interest to trade him. He's just too valuable in terms of leadership, what he can teach the next generation, and even more. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you like what you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.